Okay, before we start looking at the components you need to reload the 256 Winchester Magnum, I wanted to give you a little history on it. In 1957, they started coming out with 22 rimfire Magnum cartridge rifles, and Winchester came out with the Model 57 rifle for that cartridge, and they wanted to start making something that was a little more powerful and a center fire round. So Remington came up with the 22 Jet, which I did a video on, or a couple of videos on so far. A reloading video is on there if you want to know how to reload that one. And that one was in the spring of 1961. It was a 22 caliber neck down 357 Magnum. And then Winchester, to compete with the 22 Jet, came out with the 256 Winchester Magnum. Now, neither of the cartridge companies, Winchester nor Remington, made a gun to shoot these rounds. So they left it up to Marlin and Ruger to come up with something to shoot these wonderful cartridges. And so Smith & Wesson came up with the Model 53 revolver to do the 22 Jet, and in that one lasted from 1962 to 1974, and then in 1962 Marlin came up with the Model 62 rifle, which you see right there. It was a short stroke lever action magazine fed rifle. The magazine held 3 rounds of the 256 Win Mag. The short throw on the lever was a brand new idea. You could actually cock it, move the lever with your hand, not even leaving the rifle. You could just do it with a flex of your hand. And that was introduced in 1962. The photograph right here of the Ruger Hawkeye, Ruger tried unsuccessfully to make a, well, they made it, but they only made about 3,300 of them. It was a single action revolver with a pivoting breech lock in place of a cylinder, and it didn't last very long at all. So the last one I saw trade on Gunbroker went for almost $2,400 of this revolver. So then in, well, I don't know, later on, probably, in the, I think if I recall correctly, the 1990 or so, the custom shop at Thompson Center started making 256 Win Mag barrels for their Contenders, which is right there. And those went on to about, I guess, 2010. But those were really the only 2 guns that you could get this round chambered in. The total number of Model 62 256 Win Mag rifles was about 8,000. And in 1966 they started phasing out this rifle in the 256 caliber, and started chambering it in the 30 caliber carbine caliber. So the 62s, Model 62s were completely discontinued by 1971. And Winchester stopped making the ammunition in 1990 for the 256, and the Remington Jet was gone by 1993. So hand loading is really the only way that you can make this round. And it says here in the article that the factory brass is still available from Remington. I haven't seen any of it, but I guess it could be. Also says the 256 Winchester brass will never be made again because apparently Winchester destroyed the dies. So I'm not going to reload this for you because you're all professional reloaders, or you wouldn't even be looking to reload this thing. But I will show you the dies that you need and the different steps it takes to reload it. We've already annealed it, which is what you have to do to keep the brass from becoming brittle. But let's take a look and see the different steps you need to take to form this brass. Okay, from the far left there's just a regular 357 Magnum piece of brass, and the next one over is the annealed piece, and then die number 1. Next it down very slightly, die number 2. Next it a little more, and then there's a trim die that will take off some of the excess. You want to run it through a trimmer to get it to the exact length, trim length for the brass. The next one is a full-length sizing die, and then the last one, of course, is a loaded round. So those are the steps you need to go through to make the 256 Win Mag, and let's see what you need to do it here. This is the trim die number 1 and trim die number 2. The forming die number 1 and the forming die number 2. This is the trim die, just to knock off the little excess. I guess it helps with the neck some. The full-length sizing die, and then the seating and crimp die. And I've got a Little Crow trimmer there because I make a lot of this stuff, and using a trimmer where you have to crank it gets a little old after a while. So I got the Little Crow trimmer for it. They don't list it on their website, but you can call them up and they'll make you one up at no extra cost. So they are available. So that's about it. There are 2 shell holders you need for the forming dies. You need the extended shell holder, and then for the full-length sizing die and the seating and crimp die, you need the regular shell holder here. This is the number 12 from Reading, and also a number 12 extended. So I got Reading dies. I got them off of Midway USA. They're also available on Mid-South, and Graphs has got them. So the round itself shoots straight and hits hard with very little recoil. There certainly is a loud noise when it goes off, but it's a very fun round to shoot, and I really like it. So I hope some of you start taking it up. Anyway, bye for now. Oh, I forgot one thing. They also have a case gauge for this. L.E. Wilson makes a case gauge. So that's it. Thanks.